Welcome back to In Focus Kentucky, where each week we look at one different issue impacting Kentuckians. And today we're focusing on the critical issue of homelessness, and we're joined back with Natalie Harris and Councilman Hollander. So again, we appreciate your time today. And we talked about it during the last break about this ordinance that you all have been working on. So give us a little bit more background on kind of the story on that.
The proposed ordinance says that on public property, no Metro employee would be involved in removing or clearing a homeless encampment without providing 21 days notice. And that means posting so that the homeless would understand that. It means very critically notifying the Coalition for the Homeless so that its nonprofit partners can begin going to the site regularly, so that the police can go to the site regularly to talk to people about what services might be available so that they're not just being moved from one place to another. And then if there's an emergency, it does provide that you could go in and not provide the 21-day notice. But in that case, which we hope would happen rarely if ever, in that case you would store the belongings, for identifiable belongings, for a 30-day period so that the people could come and pick up their belongings, things like their IDs, other things that are very crucial. We hope, again, that that will happen very rarely if ever. That's the basic idea, and I think it's important, really important for the public to understand that during that 21-day period, services are being provided to try to make the situation better so that we're not just moving people from place to place.
All right, and now talk a little bit more about your organization, the Coalition for Homeless. What exactly do you all do there in Louisville?
So the Coalition for the Homeless is the overarching agency that represents all the different homeless agencies in our city. We have over 30 different agencies. And in addition to that, we have dozens of volunteer groups that go out in the community and work with the homeless. And many of both of those types of groups are part of this effort and have been part of working to try to figure out what's the best way to address when we have a camp that has to be turned over or moved on. And we have this great partnership now, and that's one of the things that I'm really excited about the ordinance, is that there's been a real effort to try to look at what was working already. The police department in our 1st Division were already giving this type of notice for 21 days. They already have a partnership with our Public Works, where during that 21 days they can get scheduled a cleanup of the trash and other things that are there. And we've even reached the point where the police are notifying us regularly, telling us if there are any camps that they're worried about, helping to get garbage set up, and then constantly notifying the homeless people in writing when a camp is going to be turned over. We also coordinate both where you can get a homeless shelter bed overnight, and then refer people to get assessed so that they can get housing. So during that time period, we have outreach workers from different agencies and volunteer groups that go out, first to make sure that you have the immediate needs that you might need if it's going to be really cold or really hot that night, and then second to try to work with you to try to figure out, have you already been assessed, where are you on the list to get housing, what kind of housing would be most appropriate for you. And so we feel good that this partnership is helping all of us use our strengths.
Now, what would you say, there's many different issues that I guess contribute to homelessness, but what would you say some of those are?
There are a lot of people, unfortunately, right now in Louisville and elsewhere who are dealing with addiction. It has become a huge issue in our community. And so we see that both in the shelters and on the streets. We also have a sizable number of people who might have a mental illness, people who are dealing with domestic violence. But the one thing that brings all of the homeless together is poverty. And so while all of us may know somebody in our family who is dealing with domestic violence or the loss of a job or addiction, we have enough financial resources to either hide that issue or address it. And the big difference for homeless people is that they don't have the money to deal with that issue when it arises.
Now, Councilman, I know that you've been a long time volunteering in the community. What are some of the plans in 2018 to kind of help tackle this particular issue? I know we've got the ordinance in place, but...
Well, the ultimate solution is more affordable housing. We have too many people who are paying too much of their income in rent, and that puts them one calamity away, one missed paycheck away from homelessness. So we need more affordable housing in the community, and we're trying to do that. We've appropriated $29.5 million in the last 3 years for affordable housing in Louisville, which is a start, but we need to continue that. That's something that can't go away, even though the budget situation is going to be more difficult this year with an increased pension obligation. But it's important that we continue that. We also need supportive services. So if you take someone who is homeless and you can provide them a housing voucher or an affordable place to live, there need to be wraparound services that help them make that work for them too. We're working on all of those things. We need to continue, though, to work on those things.
Now, Natalie, are there other organizations that the coalition works with in Louisville to kind of help with the cause?
Oh yes, we have 30 member agencies who all do some type of service for the homeless. So they may be the shelters that we are talking about that keep people warm at night, but we have a healthcare for the homeless program. We have legal aid for the homeless, lots of programs. And then the other exciting thing I was talking about is we have a group that meets quarterly on a Saturday of volunteer people who go out on their own evenings throughout the week to feed and help the homeless in our city. And so we have people with big hearts that are willing to do what's needed. We need to support those agencies and make sure that they're well funded and have the resources they need to get those services to people and hopefully get them off the streets.
Now, for people that are interested in wanting to volunteer with the coalition or just get more information from you, how do they do that?
Yeah, just go to louhomeless.org and you can connect to our Facebook or Twitter from there as well. And we have all of the information about the street count, as well as some efforts we're working on, like an effort to end youth homelessness in our community. And we'd love to have more partnerships.
Well, once again, Natalie and Councilmember Hollander, we appreciate both of you all taking time to join us today.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us for In Focus Kentucky. You can watch this or any of our shows at SpectrumInFocus.com. And of course, you can follow me on Twitter at Mario Anderson TV. I'd love to hear which issues you think we should be tackling on this show.